Good evening, everybody, from the summit of Mount Washington. I am meteorologist Amy Cotter here today to talk to you a little bit about what we can expect weather-wise at the higher summits of New Hampshire this coming weekend. So right here we have our current summit conditions page. This current summit conditions page tells us a little bit about what we're experiencing here on the summit of Mount Washington today. So it's been a pretty exciting day. We've got our wind speed dial right in the middle here. So our wind speed right now on the summit is around 48 miles per hour. So a bit of a breezy day. However, earlier in the day, we did hit a wind gust of 103 miles per hour. So it's been a bit breezy up here on the summit of Mount Washington today. Another interesting thing I'll point out is our temperature, and that is going to be particularly relevant. Temperatures are going to be particularly relevant this coming weekend. So our temperature right now on the summit of Mount Washington is 2.9 degrees below zero, so right around 3 below. It's a bit of a chilly evening, and will get even chillier as we progress throughout the weekend. But our wind chill up here on the summit today, so when you pair that wind speed with that temperature, you get what's called our wind chill. So our wind chill is what it feels like on the summit of Mount Washington today, and that is a nice warm 34 degrees below zero. And our wind chill is also going to be something that we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect this weekend. We also have our visibility bar here on the current summit conditions page that tells us how far we can see from the summit of Mount Washington, and that visibility on the summit today is 130 miles. So 130 miles is the farthest we can ever see from the summit of Mount Washington. And when we can see that far, like we can right now, we can see into 5 different states. So let's take a look at what that looks like on our observation deck camera. So here on our observation deck camera today, we can see pretty far. We do have some upper level cloud cover, but we have been clearing throughout the day. We've had the passage of a cold front bring about some much drier air. So we've been able to clear for this evening, which has brought about this beautiful view here from the summit of Mount Washington today. And let's take a look at what that clearing looked like a bit earlier in the day. So we cleared this afternoon. Let's take a look, speed up this time lapse a little bit. So much earlier in the day, we were very clouded in. This is right around sunrise. You can see that sun coming out. However, you cannot see a view because we are still completely in the clouds, just like we are around 60% of the time. And as we get to midday, you can see those clouds kind of clearing out a little bit as we see much drier air filtering in with that cold front. And then you can see that clearing brings us all the way to sunset here today. But let's take a look at what that means for this coming weekend. So this coming weekend, the main feature we're going to want to keep an eye on is this Alberta Clipper system. So this map right here shows us a map of the United States, and this L stands for low pressure, and that area of low pressure is what we call an Alberta Clipper system. It's coming from much further west in Canada, west of the Rocky Mountains, and it's going to travel pretty quickly, fairly quickly, as it approaches our region, traveling southeast. And as it does, this is into Friday night. You can see that low pressure moving into our region. That green shading represents precipitation. We can take a look at what that precipitation is going to look like up here on the higher summits in just a minute. But as we go through tomorrow, you can see that clipper shifting east. And as it does, we're still going to see some precipitation coming our way, some snow falling throughout Saturday. But as we move into Saturday night and even into Sunday, you're going to see some higher pressure building in and clearing out that precipitation. So let's take a look at what that precipitation is going to look like here, particularly on the higher summits of New Hampshire. Okay, don't know how to get rid of that. All right. Let's take a look at this map right here, which is showing us our 12-hour snowfall. So our 12-hour snowfall going into Friday night, which is tonight, you can see we've got a few inches of snowfall here, around 3.5. So we will be getting most of our snowfall tonight, around 1 to 3 inches up here on the higher summits. But you can see as that Clipper system passes to our north, most of that precipitation is going to be held to our north. And as we move into Saturday, you can see that throughout Saturday, we'll still be getting around a trace to an inch of snow. However, snow accumulations are expected to be light with this system, with the bulk of that snowfall being held north of even the state of New Hampshire. And you can see that snow tapering off, will likely taper off to some upslope snow showers into Saturday night. However, even those upslope snow showers are going to taper off as we round out the weekend forecast period. Temperatures are also going to be a thing that we're going to want to keep our eye on this coming weekend, especially because, so today we've had, like I said, the passage of a cold front that has plummeted our summit temperatures here today to below 0. If we take a look at this map right here, this map is showing us the entirety of the United States, and that makes it a little bit easier to conceptualize kind of where that flow is coming from based on those systems that are passing through. And so let's take a look. As we move into Friday night, you're going to see those temperatures rebound a little bit. And that's because with the passage of the approach of the low pressure system, that flow is going to shift southwesterly a little bit. It's going to filter in some warmer air. However, that rebound is going to be very, very short-lived as we move into Saturday morning and afternoon. Because you can see there's a much, much larger, wider coverage of much colder air as we move into Saturday. And that's because with the passage of that low, we're going to see some northwesterly or shifting northwesterly winds. And those northwesterly winds are going to be filtering down much colder air to the region. Temperatures are going to drop enough that we will even have a wind chill warning go into effect Saturday afternoon. And that wind chill warning is going to remain in effect. As you can see here, these temperatures are going to be persistently low throughout Sunday until Monday morning, so past that forecast period. And let's take a look at what those winds are going to look like as this system passes through. So this map right here shows us a map of New England with those reds and those oranges showing us areas of much higher wind speeds. So let's take a look. As we move into tonight, you can see this area of much darker colors moving in, and so those winds are going to be ramping up with the approaching system. Those winds are going to be ramping up, you can see, across most of New England tonight into tomorrow. We might see a slight lull in those wind speeds around midday at the higher summits tomorrow as that center of the low passes just to our north. But once that low shifts east and that high pressure begins to build in from our west, our winds are going to pick back up again into particularly Sunday night, or sorry, my apologies, Sunday morning. So you can see that area of higher wind speeds moving into the state of New Hampshire, and that is as that high pressure starts to build in, we're going to see that much colder air, those much stronger winds, which is what's going to trigger that wind chill warning to go into effect as we see wind chill values around 60 below. So let's take a look at what some of those specific figures might look like for what we're going to want to keep our eye on this weekend. So Friday night, we'll be seeing our heaviest snow accumulation of around 1 to 3 inches. Moving into Saturday, those temperatures are going to be something we're going to want to keep our eye on. So that high is going to be rising to the upper teens early, again with that southwesterly flow, rebounding those temperatures a little bit. Then those temperatures are going to fall through the afternoon to around 0, and they're not going to stop there because as we move into Saturday night, you can see our low is in the upper teens below. So those temperatures are going to continue to plummet with that strong northwesterly flow. And moving into Sunday, while that precipitation might be clearing out, those temperatures are going to be persistently low in the mid-teens below 0, which is what's going to keep that wind chill warning in effect past the forecast period. And you can see those winds are going to be pretty strong, at least starting out on Sunday, bringing those wind chill values down to a nice chilly 55 below to 65 below. So we're going to see some very cold temperatures this coming Sunday with the high pressure filtering in that much colder air and ramping up those wind speeds a bit this weekend. So again, this weekend, we're taking a look at that Alberta Clipper system passing through, followed by that building high pressure, which even though it might be clearing out that precipitation, it's going to bring us some much colder temperatures and even some increased wind speeds. So I hope you stay safe and have a fun weekend out there in New Hampshire and beyond.